This video is not sponsored by Burberry. Let's be honest, I don't think they'd love garlic stains to cover their precious plaid pattern. This video is about a middle-aged man making a special gift for his partner, built with patience and love, also a little guilt, but mostly the quiet hope that this will outlast any trend. Hi, I'm Fan, a software engineer and a weekend woodworker. I do woodworking, filming, post-production all by myself. Welcome to 10 Fingers Workshop, named after how many I still have. I have to make a confession. In our years with my partner, I've never bought her a luxury gift. No handbags, no jewelry, no shoes. It's not that she doesn't want them, she does, but I've always felt those items carry more fame than actual value. So this project is my attempt at a different kind of luxury. Not something bought, but something made. A chopping board dressed up in a plaid pattern. Here I'm using Type Bond 3. It's non-toxic, waterproof, and FDA approved for indirect foot contact. The beech wood, the pale foundation of the board, didn't come as the right thickness in my stock, so I cut them into smaller blocks, glued back together to form a solid base, before cutting into the right size and adding the color pattern. None of this is necessary if I had the right material to begin with, but hey, this is what I've got. And as you will see later, every wood has its own mind. They tend to soak up the finished oil differently, shifting into slight variation of tones. Unplanned, improvising, the story of my life. Cutting, gluing, and cutting again. It's a strange rhythm. It might look like extra work, but for an end-grain chopping board, I need precise rip cuts to create those thin lines. And because I don't have a bandsaw, the only way is to glue the small blocks into a larger piece so there is enough space for clamping and for cutting safely through a table saw. While it doesn't really save material, it's the best option I have in the shop. Once the cuts are done, I can start laying out the horizontal lines, the weft of the pattern. After that, I'll cut this board again to form the warp, the vertical lines. It takes more than patience to move through this repetitive work. I guess somehow the sense of significance and connection is shifting in my middle age. The meaning of crafting moves from outcome to experience, and this repetitive work anchors myself in the moment, something I never realized in my 20s. After cutting and gluing the strips twice, things can start to drift, so I wanted to plane the surface before moving on to the next step. This will reveal any gaps or cracks that might be hiding, as you will see in the next chapter. I'm using a plunger router with a surfacing bit, the same one I used for the piano chopping board. The router sits on a plate mounted on sliding blocks that travel along two rods, stacked above the jig. The other alternative though is a thicknesser, but I've heard controversial opinions. Some people say it's fine if you're careful enough, others say it can tear an end-grain board apart. And honestly, I don't want to find out the hard way. My time and attention are already scattered. I don't have the luxury to make a second board if one fails. At this stage, it looks functional, almost professional even. But marked a smile because things were about to go wrong. You see, the jig setup is just way too high, and the bit couldn't even reach the board. I built a beautifully engineered, extremely stable, smooth sliding, dust managed, completely useless router planer. But I can fix this by reversing the stack. Instead of mounting the router plate above the sliding blocks, I put it underneath. A small shift in the order, and suddenly everything started to work. The brush skirt does a decent job by keeping the fine particles from drifting into the air. There's still a fair bit of large ones left on the bench. That's just because the planing process is dusty in general. Perhaps I could use a stronger vacuum, but at least the heavy chips are easy to sweep up. The part that really matters is that the fine dust didn't end up in my lungs. With that surface being planed, I can finally see the glue joints didn't close perfectly. The marks will help me to decide where to cut next. The ripping blade is roughly 3.2mm, thick enough to remove the gaps entirely. I also drew a few curved lines to keep track of the orientation. Gluing, cutting, and gluing again. The same rhythm as before. What seems like going in circles at first quietly built its own sophistication. I can start to see the plaid pattern now, and those curved lines did their job. Every strip is exactly where it should be. The patience is paying off, a kind I definitely didn't have in my 20s. I guess this scattered middle-aged life is guiding me somewhere. When time feels thinner, every attempt matters more. You prepare, you focus, because you understand time better than your 20s, so you slow down and seize the chance that may never come back.
Snow! Wow!
Unlike regular roundovers you see on most boards, I wanted something sharper, more deliberate in detail. So I used a palm router to cut a bevel along the edge. You can still slide your fingers underneath to pick it up, but the feel is different. The bevel edge will press into your fingers every time you lift it as a small reminder that this is the board. After that, I sanded everything down to 240 grids until it feels naturally smooth, then flood it with food-grade mineral oil. The color of the purple heart popped almost instantly, one of the most rewarding moments to view the beauty come alive. Inevitably, the color will fade, settling into deep brown over time. In a few years, no one will remember what it looked like on day one, and that makes this moment even more meaningful. A flower is beautiful because it falls. Change is what frames time. This board is a gift, not just because it was made with care, but because it will age with our lives. Reminds us that moments are precious because they move.